Hey all, this is 012 Boku and...
Your state alchemist of beautiful jackassery, Jherick.
Yep, and basically we are now doing the second app we titled, as I now said before, Who's Here for Jherick Episode 2 on the next episode of Fullmetal Alchemist. I forgot to write the title down, but I think it's 23 Cold Metal Heart, because I did jump an episode ahead, thinking we were ahead, but then realized, none of this makes sense, so where were we? Oh yes, we were here. So, with that being said, take it away, Jherick.
Yeah, I guess we were doing the time warp again. But this is a great episode. This might be one of the best. This is actually probably one of the best episodes to explain why me and Boku love the original better than Brotherhood, because you get to see so much more of just the little dynamics between Winry and Ed and Al. And oh my god, what's that female lieutenant's name?
Maria Ross.
Maria Ross. She gets so much better. She's way better in this one than in Brotherhood. And I like her Brotherhood, but getting to see just how much she cares about the Edwards, seeing her get parenting advice from Hughes. This is really, to me, original Full Metal is really the show that's really emphasizes the importance of world building, establishing character relationships. All that nerdy shit they teach you in what's it called? They teach you in story writing classes. The stuff they've been ignoring for the past 20 years. But it's wonderful though, because just the little interactions, the little clever setups we've seen that are now paying off in this, like how Barry the Chopper was, sowing the seeds of doubt in Al's mind about whether he was real or not, which he was kind of already starting to have his doubts with, but it was never that bad until Barry really played on his inadequacies of that, and it's kind of funny to see because Al's a good person, but you can also see that he's not necessarily as resolute of heart as Ed is. For better or for worse, Ed is definitely hell-bent on getting their bodies back and fixing his mistakes, which can get him into trouble. He becomes too tunnel-focused. Has too much tunnel vision and becomes too focused on it. Al is definitely, a much more kinder and broader-hearted person, but he's not nearly as laser-focused on what he's doing as Ed is, which is kind of a weird contrast between the two of them, and we kind of see how this does have its strengths and its weaknesses. He kind of acts as the emotional anchor. He keeps Ed, in the right frame of mind and, understanding that the more important things he's supposed to be doing, or at least he tries to. But at the same time, his heart is so open that it's easy for anybody to play upon those emotions and to basically pluck him, play him like a fiddle.
Well, again, the one who's easily more naive in the child, Alphonse versus Edward, because heck, even in this episode you see where Edward thinks Alphonse is not mad because Alphonse is still trying to figure out whether if he's still real, but Edward's thinking, it's because I almost transmuted human beings, and yes, they were criminals and it was easy, but again, they play it off on either brother doesn't fully understand. And what I like about this one, if you guys remembered in Brotherhood, and I'll give Jherick this to bounce off of, Alphonse didn't lose his body parts like in this one. He could get up. He was leaving. He wasn't hanging around Edward because of what he heard. He was upset with him. He didn't want to be around him. This one, Alphonse has to sit there, listen to Edward, be around him, alone in his thoughts, not saying anything. Now, in Japanese, Rie Kugamiya was way more subdued, trying to be nice. In English, Aaron Desmook, credit to his performance, blasé, hidden anger, deadpan anger, just because he's whatever, I don't care, this, that, you should know what that means, brother, and all this stuff, drink your milk, brother, how are you going to get so big, and just stuff like that. So I liked how the original changes that from Brotherhood, because in the manga, I know Alphonse could run around because he still had his limbs, but in this one, since Gluttony had tore off and eaten his limbs, he could not move. He was stuck in this room for most of the damn episode with him. So just not being able to say anything to again, which makes a stronger ending, which I'll let you get to. So
well, and I know I've mentioned this once before, probably in the Brotherhood review, but again, it reminds me of that one Metallica music video one with like the guy who got his limbs blasted off in like World War I, and now he's just a torso. He's like, "Oh God, kill me!" and he can't even say it because he's basically lost like the parts that would allow him to say it, but he's just screaming it in his head as the doctors are like, poor thing, poor man, what's going to happen to him? And it's kind of the same thing, and it's kind of funny. You really see how brilliant the writing in this is, and not just the writing, the phrasing of every scene, because there have been little moments where Ed has mentioned that he's wanted to say something to Al, but he doesn't, and at all the wrong moments, it just, every single thing just cleverly stacks upon each other like a Jenga tower of like misunderstandings, until finally, the one wrong piece gets plucked and the whole thing comes down. And when you go back through each and every episode and you see just these tiny little moments where they didn't say the right thing at the right time, it really just shows you how cleverly the writing of these old animes are.
Well, again, I guess in a way without bringing it too much into the spiritualism thing, because you could probably use spiritualism to explain the whole thing, but you basically have Edward, bluntness, frankness, not so much open, but closed off, matter of fact, I'm going to tell you the truth and be a dick about it, versus open truthfulness, but mixed with hope, not giving up and saying you can believe in something, which again, that's where the naivety comes from, but if they didn't have that, Alphonse's human heart would not be able to affect Edward. So Edward's more matter of fact, where Alphonse is more open, and it still plays off of that, but like you said, it plays off to where, because to mention that from further episodes, what did Edward always say? Someone always interrupted them throughout the several episodes, or he would always say when they were alone, because, what was it, Armstrong didn't interfere till Edward said never mind, but Edward basically said, never mind, I'll tell you later, or oh, it doesn't matter. He would always say that too if they were alone and brought up.
And this episode also greatly demonstrates why the Japanese are so obsessed with the idea of like communication between people, and how, there's an old phrase, the mouth is the source of all disasters in Japan. And it's kind of true because people, nowadays we count on people not paying attention to what we're saying or what we're doing. That's why the Japanese kind of get obsessed with these things, and it's really, this episode is a masterclass in it, because it's not just Ed and Al who are demonstrating this. Like, a little before we really see the blow-up between these two, we also kind of get a demonstration of this with Winry and Panako. Because Winry, of course, realized a few episodes back that, she forgot the stabilizing bolt in his shoulder. Hence the reason why his arm wasn't working so good. And, of course, Winry's trying to... I love how she's kind of doing this weird thing where she's like, of course, I'm the oft talked about beautiful genius of auto mail repair. I mean, it would be such a skirmish, blemish on my record. Surely this must be apart from something else. And I love how, like, the moment she realizes Panako's about to come in the room, she's trying to hide it and trying to get all fidgety. And Panako, of course, probably having made this mistake a few times in her younger years, she already knows the bullshit her granddaughter's doing. It's like, don't forget to do the repairs correctly this time, granddaughter. It's like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's just so funny how defeated she sounds right after she figures out Panako knew. And I love how she just walks so nonchalantly, like, not even a mild change in her expression. It's kind of like the whole moment, where you got the terrible report card. Your Nana already knows, and she's just waiting for you. She doesn't have to say shit. You already know. She's got that aura around her. You know what's coming. It's just one of those moments, and again, once she gets to, she's talking on the phone, and Ed's like, I kind of goofed, and my arm was acting a little funny. She's like, I'm sure that has nothing to do with the bolt I forgot to put in your what? Oh, nothing. Of course you were too rough with your arm. I mean, you're always doing that. I'll come right over. Don't worry. And it's just so funny to see her kind of losing her shit over her reputation as an auto mail engineer. Which again, really, and that's kind of plays a lot into like the whole message of this. How our ambitions, our perception of our own self, just kind of gets in the way of what's really important, and we just kind of lose sight of it over a while, and it just kind of muddies up everything. I mean, this episode in particular is great about that. So, of course, she gets to Central, and they send my boy, the alchemist of true, beautiful alchemy, to greet her. And she's like, wait a minute, he said they would send somebody, and she just sees Armstrong. Oh, yeah. There you are, Miss Winry. Please, come right this way. Let us go straight to the elevator. And I'm just like, yeah. Of course it would be Alexander Louis Armstrong. Honestly, I wish we could get like just a short animation of like him and Vash together. That would just be too much. I would love him, Vash, and All Might. That would be or Might Guy. Oh, springtime of beautiful alchemical youth. God, I would love to see that. But yeah, she goes to see them, and of course she sees how much their arm is busted up, and you can see her trying to scheme in her mind how she's going to make sure they don't find out that she goofed. And it's kind of funny because if Ed and Al were not so focused on other things, they probably would have both figured it out instantly. And that's kind of the funny thing. Again, we get so distracted within the minutiae of our own minds, we kind of don't really see the other stuff that's just going on around us. I mean, Winry gets very upset with them, because they're never talking about like the really big stuff with her, and it's kind of funny because at Maze Hughes throwing a party for his daughter, he kind of gives Winry the sit-down talk about how guys think in comparison to girls think, and it's an absolutely beautiful little bit of dialogue that really cues you into the fact that Maze Hughes, he's not just he's not an intelligence officer for nothing. This is why you have him in the intelligence division. He understands people. He knows how to watch, how to observe, how to see how people think and process information, how they express themselves. He tells her, the fact that they tell you these things eventually is proof positive how much they trust you, because guys usually do not talk about these things hardly ever. It's just kind of a guy thing. But the one person they do talk about these things to is, even if, it's usually like way at the end when everything's kind of gotten out of hand, is the one person they always trust the most. And who do they always go to with these things? And she's starting to realize it, and she's like, of course, somehow he knew something like this was going on because he's freaking best dad ever. So he had his wife bake up a birthday cake because, apparently Ed and his daughter share the same birthday. Mm-hmm. Which, again, is just another beautiful touch we only find out in this version.
Well, and also, too, to help you add to that as well, I think this was also brought apart, too, because, again, as you guys know, we've seen Brotherhood, if you read the manga. For those who won't, I won't spoil it here, but as you know, something is going to happen very soon to Hughes, the guy we all know and love. Yeah. And the thing is, he comes into this episode not grilling Edward, but trying to ask questions, and Edward does tell Hughes about what they've seen. And as Jherick and I have said episodes prior, Hughes has already been having the wheels over the last 3-4 episodes starting to turn and do things, because it was even a thing where Roy calls wanting an update. Hughes doesn't say anything. I mean, it turns into a good bit of comedy, but even Jessica says, shouldn't you have told him? No, I don't need to tell him about the Elrics or any of this right now, because if he does, he's going to worry, and that's going to cause a whole thing. So it's like...
Well, I was actually going to get to that like after Edward and Winry.
Oh, gotcha. We'll go ahead.
But yeah, it was kind of neat, and I mean, I can't be 100% certain, but it looked like he had his wife cook them like a carrot cake, because I mean, honestly, that's kind of a standard birthday cake. And it's sweet. He tells her, like, hey, why don't you go deliver this cake, to the brothers, and have your own little celebration. And it's just really sweet because, like, earlier, when she stormed out of their hospital room, it was pretty obvious. It had to have been obvious to him that she clearly had one of those moments with him. And God bless him, because he recognizes that she's a woman in love. She cares about them. She's just kind of upset and not seeing things straight. And it's just one of those sweet moments that really establishes the kind of guy Hughes is. And now we're going to talk about, well, kind of the lead up to this, because as he mentioned, Al needed to be repaired, and, for that to happen, Ed needed to be repaired first, and we needed to get through all that drama. Al is clearly, been having these thoughts stew in his mind, and seeing some of the things he saw during that battle in the prison definitely made it worse. I'm sure he didn't, wasn't there to see, like, both of the Slasher brothers, get killed by having their seals destroyed, but he had to have heard the conversation Ed had with Maze Hughes about it, and he has to have known the implication of how they had to have died.
Well, he had to. He was there in the room. He couldn't go nowhere.
To make matters worse, Al may not be as sharp and as, analytical as Ed is, but you can tell he is a prodigy. In fact, I think in both versions of the show, even Ed himself says that Al is actually the one who's better at alchemy than he is. It's just that he doesn't really have, like, the hungry alchemist mindset that him and his father have.
Alchemy and, believe it or not, combat.
Because that's kind of the funny thing. It kind of reminds me of, like, a line from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It's like, only the one who doesn't seek the Sorcerer's Stone will be the one worthy to find it. And, of course, we all know that was Harry. Because Harry had no desire or need for such a thing. So, of course, the curse and enchantment would cause it to be with him, because it would be safest with him. Yeah, it's kind of funny how often that happens. Heck, even the Bible does that, with, like, God's champions always being the people who least want to be like a Messiah, a leader, or a Methuselah. It's always the humble and the meek who wind up becoming the messenger, not the ones who go out seeking the glory itself. And Al is the perfect representation of this. He's a kind, peaceful kid. He just wants his brother to be happy. He wants people to not have to suffer. Edward, on the other hand, is definitely more like his father than he'd ever care to admit. Which is kind of funny, because, hey, I am a father, I'm a Jedi, like my father before me. You failed, Your Highness. Mm-hmm. Then you will die, like your father, Jedi. But anyways, yeah, and we can see, he's, when he's on the rooftop getting repaired by Ed, he's, starting to have that conversation. But again, he's phrasing these questions in a way that causes Ed to misunderstand what he's really asking about until he asks the question directly, which of course kind of unbalances Ed, because he was kind of thinking it was something else. And that's really kind of the biggest thing. Both brothers knew something was wrong with the other, but they never talked to each other directly about it. So things kind of built up and went overboard, which leads to Al running off on his own. But before that happens, we notice Hughes is in the library, having the records be basically put back bit by Casca. Which, dear God, I love the fact they named her Casca. Finally, a Casca who gets to have a bit of a happy ending. Yeah, Berserk fans know exactly what I mean by that. And she's just adorable. She's like, yes, sir, I finished all these. It's like, well, then you can get started on this stack over here. Which, of course, causes, is when Roy Mustang calls in. And this is something I love about Casca, is like, even though you think she's just this little, character who's here for just small narrative purposes, you can see how smart she is because, again, like Boku said, she asks, but sir, shouldn't we have told Mustang about all that? And he's like, no, that would just make him worry, and then he would come down and things would get even more complicated. And it's kind of a not so subtle nod to the fact that Roy himself probably has been aware of the corruption for a very long time. And we know that he kind of more or less recruited his dream team of people to clean it up. Riza, Louise, Armstrong, and of course Maze Hughes. And chances are quite good that Maze Hughes was probably one of the first people he recruited outside of like Riza, because Maze Hughes is a smart one. He sees things, he knows how to put two and two together. He's the guy who's going to know how to make the connections to make his plan work.
Well, don't forget, I know it's more prominent in Brother than the original, but don't probably forget Jean Havoc was a big thing of that too.
But they're kind of like I hesitate to use this phrase, but for us Americans, like if you see Roy Mustang as wanting to be the president, they would be the cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of neat that, Hughes basically is the guy who's trusted in that level with Roy, and for him to know that it's like, I can't tell Roy this yet because that would just get him down here, and then, he would do what he does, and that would make things more complicated. It's better if I have him stay where he's doing now so that I can assess the situation in a more calm and controlled environment, which is exactly how most intelligence officers would work. Keep the king at a distance so that you can observe things in a much more quieter state. It's pretty standard procedure for that sort of thing. And maybe, just maybe, this would have worked better if, we, the audience, weren't privy to certain types of information.
Yeah. Well, again, because from what you've already seen, what do you see? What is where I ask, even though it's a funny scene? He's worried about Scar still, so you can tell Hughes hasn't let him know about Laboratory 5 yet, which again, you're right, Mustang's probably had his inklings, probably never knew really what was inside, and then, he's never known, nobody knew about the homunculi, because the Elrics has figured them out, so doesn't know about that, doesn't know about Laboratory 5, so he still thinks all this is doing with Scar, and it's like, it's evolved a little beyond Scar now at this point.
And that's the funny thing, because again, given the information we know Ed told Hughes, we know that he now knows that not only are the homunculi real, but that more than likely one of them has been impersonating Boss Rond. And if one of them has been impersonating Boss Rond, then how many other members of the higher order of the Almestrian military could be compromised, if not outright traitors? If he tells Roy this, Roy is going to go down there, and it's just going to be a big shit show. But again, the problem is, as much as we love Mace Hughes, and don't get me wrong, best anime daddy, he's a lover, not a fighter, and we're going to get the proof of that coming soon.
Well, at least we already knew that he could still fight and whatnot, even though it's only in one episode. Yes, it's nice that they gave us something beforehand instead of, I'm going to take out these daggers you've never seen me use and start attacking Lust with them. And
it's sad too, because, again, like he said, when they first saw Scar basically tear a building apart, it's like, look, this is a battle for, freak shows. I'm just a normal guy trying to survive out here.
Yeah.
And it's true, because, against, normal soldiers, this guy would probably be cleaning house. But that's like sending, Captain America against Superman. We all know how it's going to end. You're good, Cap, but you're not Superman good.
Don't be starting with that one. Which I'll remind you, I saw a thing, didn't see the video, but someone said how if Homelander versus Superman would destroy him. I'm like, yeah, thank God, fuck you, Homelander.
Oh, they already went there. And apparently Superman barely survived an attack by Homelander.
Barely survives an attack by Homelander?
Well, yeah, because, he's the popular new evil Superman.
Whatever.
It's like, come on, we all know even post-crisis Superman would mop the floor with ease.
I've barely only seen what I've seen from the boys in clips, and I can even say Homelander is over.
Yeah.
If anything, nobody wants to, and I've seen so many videos saying how he actually is the most nuanced and great character in the boys. Nobody talks about
bullshit.
Well, no, not Homelander. Nobody talks about Jensen Ackles' character, the Butcher.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nobody ever talks about the Butcher. They're all on Homelander. And I'm like, fuck Homelander at this point. That
you
overrated piece of shit.
One of the few guys the Homelander is actually worried about is the guy who runs that corporation, because he's an absolute sociopath. Homelander busts into his apartment and tries threatening him. Is like, go ahead, kill me. The whole operation will continue without me, and nothing will really change. The only thing that will change by the start of tomorrow will be there'll just be a different CEO. So go ahead, kill me. It'll do nothing. And at that moment, he realizes, I've got nothing on this guy, because even if I do kill him, he's probably right. They'll just continue the operation. It'll be a different CEO, but all it'll do is just be one more dead body. It's actually one of the funny things, because Homelander, maybe he's the most powerful of the seven, but honestly, if you really think about it, several of those guys would stand a good chance against him as long as they had certain types of territorial advantage. The Deep could probably drown him with ease. A-Train, if he took enough of that drug, could probably hit Speed Force levels and just one-shot him. Starlight could probably, again, if she had jacked up her powers with that drug, she could probably generate enough light energy to basically melt him from within. Heck, that Nazi one, the one with the thunder powers, just hit him with a strong enough burst of thunder and he'll electrocute to death.
One again, I didn't mean to take it there, but given how you sort of made the allusion to it, I'll go ahead and mention that right now.
Because that's the thing. Like, Cap is like a stupidly skilled soldier, but like Superman is also good at hand to hand, and he's pretty much a demigod. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Hell,
that's why Homelander's better. He's not exactly like Superman. Superman's got plenty of weaknesses from what we can tell by the comics, cartoons, and everything we've been given. So don't even begin.
And before anyone says, but hey, Muhammad Ali beat him in a boxing match. Yeah, but they had to nerf his powers with Crimson Kryptonite. So, it is.
Otherwise, this would have been Muhammad Ali.
Yeah,
did he just kill Muhammad Ali? I think he just killed Muhammad Ali.
It's like, hey, look at that. The only boxing match that's more unfair than one governed by Don King. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like, Hughes is like, again, this guy in a normal situation would probably be Captain America levels, but like Ed and Al are easily, at the very least, Wolverine levels, and Scar's like, whoa. That is on a completely different level of I'm not even messing with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and again, this episode really highlights just how necessary Hughes was as a story element, because the way he gets Roy Mustang off of this, again doing the whole daddy shtick is brilliant, because he knows this drives everybody crazy, and the fact that he knows to weaponize it when he needs to basically, shift the conversation in the way he needs it to, just really shows that this guy is always thinking. And in fact, when he's having his conversation with Ed, you can see when he can see the bullshit that Ed's trying to do, and he's not going to put up with it because, again, he's a dad. He knows that this is the kind of stuff he would have had to deal with, down the road with his own daughter eventually at one point. And it's kind of funny because, in a sense, you get to see him have dad moments with Ed and Al, but yeah, he's not going to get to have a whole lot more of those in the near future, sadly.
One again.
But anyways, it's just kind of one of those things about Hughes, and again, you notice in certain scenes they really highlight the fact that he's kind of got those almost gold-colored eyes. Which, for those of you who pay a lot of attention to stuff like esotericism, alchemy, and stuff like that, is always a sign that this is a person of higher capability and wisdom. This is a person who's basically more or less got the touch. But, yeah, it's one of those things. And then there's, like, one of my favorite moments, which comes early on with Maria Ross. When she's having her conversation with Al, and he's trying to, laugh it off. Yeah, it's a good thing I could have really lost myself there. And you can tell she is very upset with how he tries to laugh it off, because she must have been genuinely just scared out of her mind that she was going to lose them. And you can see, again, she's a soldier, but a woman is, before any and all things, a woman, and all women at one point will wish to be mothers. And the biggest thing you can ever do to piss off a lady is to have to see a kid die right in front of them. For her to almost see him get lost to the power of all that alchemical energy, that must have freaked her out something bad. But what did she do? She did what any good mom does. She gave him a hug and calmed him down. And for her to see him to try to laugh off that danger he was in just really got on her bad side. So she did what any good mom does.
Yeah.
It's like, my apologies. It's like, I know what I did was out of line, sir. But you must understand, even if you are a Full Metal Estate Alchemist, you're still a child, and it wouldn't hurt you to learn to ask for help from your older subordinates every now and again. And I love how that was all it took for Ed to realize what he did and to actually kind of calm down. And this again really shows that even if he is acting like a grown-up, he knows he's still a child who needs a mom. And in that moment, that's what he got.
Well, and I know she did it because of what she saw and the danger they were in, but I always tell folks, the one thing we don't know is, does Edward remember any of that stuff after he was trying to run after the people, and when his body was already setting up the alchemic spell, touch the stuff when he was going into, because like Lust was saying, he was going into a god tier level thing, reacting to everything with the power he already set up. So it's like we never learn, did he ever even remember any of that happening?
I think he does, because honestly, I don't think that's something you can remember. Like, I think even if, like, you know, like, say, like, what happened in Brotherhood, where it's like, oh, I'm just going to take your memories of alchemy, I don't think that's something you can really forget. There have been more than a few moments of stuff kind of like that in Marvel Comics. A great example would be, like, when Enchantress basically got the hots for Wonder Man, and she gave him god powers, and I forget how, but he lost the god powers, but a little piece of that always stayed with him, so even though, you know, he didn't have, like, the Norse god powers, he still retained, like, a level of divine awareness that made him immune to the Enchantress's seductions. In fact, this actually comes up in the Wonder Man solo run from the 90s, where she comes back to try to get him, and he basically uses his acting skills to pretend that she has him under his control in order to stop her. It's actually a really... The Wonder Man solo 90s run was really great, by the way. Check it out. But, yeah, stuff like that, you know, like, there was also the time the Beyonder gave Dazzler half of his powers, hoping she'd be his girlfriend, and, of course, she basically gave them back because she didn't want to be a god, but a little piece of that stayed with her, and afterwards she was able to basically control the angle and direction of her lasers. Yeah, that was also... By the way, they were pushing Dazzler hard in the 80s. Yeah, finding out that Juggernaut had the hots for Dazzler from her disco days is like... Ugh. I mean, I know he makes a lot of stupid decisions, but really? Disco Dazzler? No. Yeah, give me Jane Fonda blue bodysuit with, like, the jacket Dazzler, not the sequined outfit with the roller skates and the Kiss makeup Dazzler. Ugh. But anyways, yeah, I think basically that's always going to be something. And, you know, considering he kind of touched godhood for a little bit in this one, maybe that's the reason why Truth basically takes him and well, why the ending ends the way it does. I won't spoil that, but let's just say maybe that's the reason why the ending to OG is different from Brotherhood, because in this one he touched godhood, and anybody who's, you know, studied any religion will know that's a big no-no. You're not supposed to do that.
Well, not if you're a mortal born of this world, because you can't handle such things. You can't handle it.
But I mean,
hey, wrong, G, you can't handle it.
But why does God need a starship? But anyways, it's a really touching moment, and I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about Maria Ross's performance, you know, at a certain part of this review. But other than that, another one of the big takeaways from this is we got a lot of really wonderful little character moments between everybody. Maria Ross, Mace Hughes, the Elricks, and we just really got to see just some of the most peak Mace Hughes daddy moments of all time, and that's really going to make the next couple episodes hit a lot harder. Oh, you thought I lost my shit on the Brotherhood side of this. This is going to be the one I'm going to need extra lorazepam for, because I remember the first time I saw that funeral, and it still hurts. I mean, there have been a lot of good deaths of good cartoon characters I've seen, but trust me, Mace Hughes is damn near number one.
This one will hurt a lot more since it's built up over all these episodes, where, again, and nothing wrong with the manga, nothing wrong with Brotherhood. I get it. I understand it. However many chapters it was in the manga versus also 10 episodes in the Brotherhood anime, and it's like they barely had any interaction, Hughes and the Elricks and things. You got more interaction, and you know, seeing what happened in the past with Mace Hughes and Roy Mustang and their interactions with Kimberly and everybody else was a treat. That was good. But again, you get the same thing in this one, even though there's not much interaction. But you get the fact that everybody was... And you know, honestly, as cool as it is in Brotherhood, and I know why it's set up, I know why it was set up in the manga, I know why Hiromu Arakawa did it. But you know what? I really didn't care all that much to know that, okay, these two are probably still going to get married and be together. Right-ho? Cool. Yeah. Oh, look, her father was an alchemist who taught Roy all his powers and shit. Cool. Okie doke. why he thought it was so important to brand it into his daughter's back. I know we get the backstory of that, but I'm like,
well, not only that,
okie dokie.
It's like, if you thought it was such a dangerous and forbidden alchemy technique, then why did you create a blueprint on your daughter's back of all places?
Well, like they said, he went into it. It's like I think they make this illusion that Riza Hawkeye's father, knew of father, and I'm just like, again, I understand, as like we told you guys before, and especially for me, I understand father's motivations now, because with power, you want more power, and you want to be the one controlling all of it. It's like, okay, I get it. But there's one thing I still don't understand, and I will give Hiromu Arakawa a whole lot of shit for this, because I'm going to say, maybe this is me, Hiromu, you almost sound like you're an atheist, because I find it funny how father is almost like the Christ figure for two cultures. And I catch on to that. Father is almost like, oh look, a Christian motif. Oh look,
yeah.
You have father and not Xerxes, Jing, who he looks like Shih Tzu or Confucius.
Well, you know what it reminds me of too?
Hooray!
It reminds me of like that crazy ass theory where it's like, oh, Jesus walked the entirety of the earth, and like he started in China, then he went to like Greece, and then he went to like the Nordic countries, and then he went to the Middle East, and that's why every one of these nations has like a Christ figure, and they all have like this weird tragic backstory that's oddly similar to each other. It's like, or the idea of a savior born of virgin birth, destined for greater things, is just something that's kind of universal and something we all kind of, wish to aspire to in some way, to not be a man, but to be a Superman, as one character during the Death and Return of Superman once put it.
Yep.
But anyways, yeah, it's kind of one of those things, and it's just kind of weird, but I mean, hey, but hey, Marvel, if you want some free writing advice, spoiler warning, study Fullmetal Alchemist Original, because this is why death in a story matters, and this is why building up to it and establishing the characters and the world building is so important.
Well, and again, I know they wanted to avoid the filler, or what they thought was filler in the original, but every episode has had a purpose. There's been no wasted motion.
Yeah.
The journey to getting to Laboratory 5, the discovery of the Philosopher's Stone, was teaching both the Elrics what they were, and there's always hiccups along the way, what Alphonse is dealing with, what Edward is dealing with, what Winry is dealing with them now between them all. It's like you're always going to have these hiccups. This is what makes us human, and what I think this tries to teach us, and what truly makes us happy in the end. Everybody wants the storybook ending, but are we always going to have the storybook ending? From what David Lynch shows us, not to take it to David Lynch territory, but what David Lynch shows us in his Lynchian worldview is we have dreams. Sometimes our dreams are not good for the fabric of reality. Sometimes they are. But do we always live out our dreams? Is it always good to be that kind of dreamer? Yes and no, because you can always get lost in your dreams, and your dreams can become nightmares.
Well, and it's, and I hate to say,
we're not all meant to be the hero at the end of the day.
But this is why we need to bring back like 28 and 33 episode anime seasons again. People need time to flesh this stuff out, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like Brotherhood, but I like Brotherhood the same way I like Dragon Ball Kai. It's great for the action scenes, but honestly, I like the world building and the characterization like GT more.
Well,
by the way, make GT canon again.
And, well, I'll agree with that one too. Well, I mean, that's what I tell people, because as far as story and character building, nothing wrong with Brotherhood. I like Brotherhood too, and believe me, I know we piss on Brotherhood a lot. We say when I do this with Jherick, we piss on it a lot, but it's because I see the flaws in it now. I see where something could have been better, and then this one, even though, yes, not every character is this, not every character is here, not everyone is introduced the same way, but the structure, the world building, seeing that we're on this journey with the brothers, how everybody fits in on the sidelines, works a lot more and all connects more than that. Because the fact that, the homunculi were looking for an alchemist to make them human, and they were trying with several different people. The Elricks were the ones who got the closest, which is why they weren't doing anything with them yet, or trying to kill them, because, you were getting the closest to where we needed you, and, hey, I mean, hell, even after he tries to bring his daughter back and turns himself into a chimera, Tucker was even saying, after I was brought to the prison, they recruited me to try to build the Philosopher's Stone, and even I couldn't do it. It's like, again, all these cool things. I mean, you could say maybe we're just simping for the original Heart, but the structure is better, and this is me too. I could do without Jing. I know the characters in Jing are great. Xiaomei, Ling, everybody loves Lan Fan. I get it. But I could do without Jing. I don't care about Jing. China's little friggin' little country that helps, and then Alchemy playing a big role in this damn thing.
And I hate to say it kind of reminds me of, like, the same argument I have with, like, the Gundam community, because I like the mech design in Seed and Destiny and Seed Destiny, but considering that's basically like, what if we redid the original Mobile Suit Gundam in modern times? Well, I hate to break it, I still like the OG more because they spent more time on the characters, the story. Yeah, some of the Mobile Suit designs were kind of stupid and ass, but it's like the drama was there, the characterization, the relationships, those moments that just live with you forever. But it's like Destiny and Seed Destiny was kind of like, let's just take all the stuff we thought was really cool from that and just give it like a nicer coat of paint. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you can try it, but it's like, honestly, I haven't really seen it done all that well, except for like maybe Robotech and Adolescence of Utena, because honestly, it's like, don't tell me these girls are married unless they're getting to be a little bit more intimate. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's like, if she's supposed to be her wife, her fiance, and she's supposed to be her future husband, it's like, how come we never get to see these girls kiss or anything? So, don't get me wrong, sometimes it works, most times not so much.
Well, and as we've run off on a couple tangents there, you and I, we'll wrap this thing up here really quick. Your favorite characters, Jherick?
Oh man, this one has so many I almost couldn't choose, but let me think. I'm going to have to go.
If you want to name them all, do what I've done before and name them all.
You know what? Goddamn it, we're doing it. It's a tie. We're going with Mace Hughes, Ed, Al, Maria Ross, Winry, Panaka. Like, everybody was just phenomenal in this. It's all, like you said, man, it's just everybody. But I'd especially love to mention how much I love, like, the English version for Maria Ross. Now, don't get me wrong.
Meredith McCoy, Android 18 herself.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, I do love the Japanese delivery, but there's just so much. There's a nice, perfect balance between mom energy and a military officer in that scene. It's a masterclass of subtlety, and I love it.
Well, there's a carrying gravitas that Meredith McCoy brings, and like you said, because I don't think maybe we find out in Brotherhood. I can't remember because, like I've said, I've only seen Brotherhood once and I've never really finished the manga. I think Maria Ross has other family members that she's cared for, which is where she gets this with the Elricks. But you could just see where she treats them the way that she knows how they should be treated. And she treats them with importance, but she doesn't talk down to them. But she's like, I know what you guys need. You need care right now. You don't need to be macho gung-ho.
Well, and again, it shows that she's been, taking the lessons she's heard from Mace Hughes to heart, and the scene where she has to slap Ed just show you can see where she almost wants to break down in tears, but, for the sake of not scaring them and not losing her military composure, she holds it in, but just the combination of the animation, the voice acting was so perfect. I'm like, this is Oscar shit right here.
Well, remember, everybody react to it, not just Denny Block. That even got Alphonse out of his stupor. He couldn't even believe that she slapped the crap out of him. But
and that's why it was so perfect. And again, Al's voice actor was absolutely legendary in this scene.
Well, again, Rie Kugamiya, Aaron Dismuke. So
his repressed pain, fear, and anger was just absolutely spot on. This kid is I'm surprised we haven't heard more from him because, I mean, if he was doing this as a kid, I could only imagine he would be getting better as an adult.
I have a few of his works as an adult from Funimation / Crunchyroll in my possession, so he has played. He still is there and has played some adult characters. I can't believe that's him because it doesn't sound anything like he did as a kid. But I'm like, all right.
And again, it sounds simple to do, but not really. But which again really shows how great this cast was. Mace Hughes, again, how could anybody not love Mace Hughes' performance in this? Serious and stern when he needs to be, absolute full daddy mode whenever he wants to be.
Yep.
Love ya. Absolutely one of the best voices. And even Roy Mustang absolutely knocked it out of the park with his brief performance. Again, you know...
Tell me what I want to know, Hughes, or I'll roast you alive.
And of course, Vic Mignogna, I mean, Jesus, like, this guy was just... To this day, he is just one of the biggest chads in voice acting. It just is what it is. Well,
he really knows how to show pain very well, especially there at the end. And again, him not wanting to... I guess it's because his pride keeps his pain in from telling him, and even though I was looking at the screen saying, just tell him, Edward, tell him what you need to tell him, and he couldn't tell him, but he was like trying to be like, no, I promise, I'll tell you, just give me a few minutes. Oh, whoop, I got hit. And it's like, ow, come back!
And I know I've mentioned before, you know, even though we're not as big fans of Mark Hamill anymore, how impressed we are with his ability to go like from 0 to Mr. J in a heartbeat. But Vic Mignogna is damn good at it too. Like his ability to just flip that switch to transition between different emotional states with just absolute precision is so amazing. Yeah, it really is just one of those things you really don't appreciate until you get into acting. And then of course, you know, we have Casca. She did a great job too.
Yeah, Gwendolyn Lau, I think, at least in English. I forget who does her in Japanese.
I mean, again, you know, this is just why that 90s dubbing at Funimation was just... It was a way ahead of its time and kind of still is to this day.
Well, remember, I know a lot of people gave them crap for you know, Dragon Ball and how goofy that was. And again, I could see where they brought the seriousness in Kai, but then I'm like, well, this is also Dragon Ball. Do we need to really be this serious with Kai?
And you know, also it's like...
And plus, hearing him swear all the time now is weird.
Also, I kind of liked some of the goofy moments from the non-Kai dubs, because, let's be honest, I mean, that shit lives in our memories forever for those exact reasons.
And regardless of what people say, I've actually grown to like the Bruce Falconer score, the original... scores they did for the shows and GTs over the years. People say, oh, there were some good ones, but it was all like, listen to it all. Some of it is goofy, but the goofy parts ones work, and then, you know, like Cell's theme, Gohan's anger, the androids theme, their whole thing when you needed to get creepy and weird. Very good stuff.
You should see the some of the heavy metal and heavy rock covers I've seen for like the opening to GT.
I've been hearing some of them. I've been starting to get them now, and it all started when someone had a different rock cover of a Gohan's theme, which I wasn't doing. Now I've been getting like all these different ones of Sal and GT and Z and everything.
Oh yeah, if you want like the two series that get some of the best fan covers, Toho and Dragon Ball. I'm joking.
I think I've been getting it because I've been listening to a lot of the our Dynasty Warriors soundtracks again, which are very rock oriented or techno oriented, which is why I'm starting to get a lot of those for Dragon Ball and stuff now from
and by the way,
other artists and fans.
If you want the like peak Dynasty Warriors experience, play some old school Dragon Ball Z music while you're doing the fights.
Indeed.
Seriously, Chala, head Chala, as you're just mowing down all these soldiers. I mean, it's the best shit ever. Well, hey, it's the Dr. Pepper of anime for a reason.
Well, hey, alright, well then, you are Jherick?
Indeed I am, and you are not.
And then, yep, I am Owen Boku, and this is Who's Here for Jherick, and we'll see you guys again later.